The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. A brand new week is upon us, and we have a lot to talk about, a lot to kind of go over. We have district semifinals tonight in softball. The sectional tournament starts in baseball today. We're going to talk about all of that. We also have a player profile to we go the extra mile for you, just like our good friends top right-hand corner of the screen, Greenwood Chevrolet, do. They go the extra mile for you buying new or used vehicles. We go the extra mile for you in our local sports coverage here on Running Point. And we will continue to do that today with a player profile from Austintown Fitch softball as they gear up for a district semifinal tonight. They will play Green at YSU. Sydney Watts will be the player profile of the day. So we'll hear from her, the future Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, but one more year in this tournament run still at Fitch to go. So a great interview with her. Me and Ty Bartell were on it, and that one's going to be featured on today's episode. But before we get to her, before we get to that, we have to first and foremost introduce the baseball tournament. The seeds were decided over the weekend, and so were the brackets. So like we did with softball, the Monday after that all came out, we're going to do a quick glance over the brackets and the seeds. And then when the matchups start really heating up, we'll talk about what kind of baseball teams have to look forward to. But here we will go to the Northeast District database on the OHSA website, and we'll bring up the seeds and then the brackets. First, we'll start in Division 1. Once again, if you go to this website, NEDAB, which is the Northeast District database, it's a little subsidiary, I guess, of the OHSA website. You can find out how teams voted and where teams landed. These are the voting results. Not going to go over them all on the show. It's way too much to dive into. But if you want the voting results and to see where teams voted your favorite baseball team, then you can find them on this website. Here is how Division 1 in baseball got seeded. Maslin Jackson is the 1 seed, then Mentor, then Walsh Jesuit, then our own Archbishop Hoban comes in as the 4 seed. University School is the 5, Hoover the 6, Twinsburg the 7, Chardon the 8, Austintown Fitch is at 9. So we have 2 in the top 10. Nordonia at 10, Louisville at 11 right there, just missing the top 10. Glen Oak is 12, Mayfield, Maslin Washington, Maslin Perry. Green, Dover, Aurora, Uniontown Lake, Hudson, Willoughby South, Canton, McKinley right there. Ellett, we have Riverside, Harding, East Lake North, as well as Brush, Stowe, Sullen, Cuyahoga Falls, Boardman down there, Lakeside, Euclid, Harvey, and then Cleveland JFK at the bottom of the list. Now let's dive into the brackets for these baseball teams in Division 1. Northeast 1 looks like this. This district will be held at Minter. And Hoban is the. Wait, did we already do this? This is starting to look very familiar. I might be a week behind myself in my brain. I feel like we did this, and a lot of teams that landed in this bracket. We did this last week, didn't we? Willoughby South is there. We have Minter, Hudson, Euclid, Chardon, Dover, Harding. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. But Hoban will await the winner, which starts tonight. Of East Lake starts tomorrow. Sorry, East Lake North against Lakeside. Hoban will play the winner of that game at home on the 16th at 5:00 in Northeast 1. Northeast 2, we have Massillon Jackson as the 1 seed. Cuyahoga Falls and Boardman play each other for the chance to go to Massillon Jackson. Louisville has the bye. They will await the winner of Uniontown Lake and Painesville Harvey. Austintown fits right there. Yeah, I think we did this before. Clayton, Glen Oak, and Solon. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at the brackets, talk about it a little bit more because sectional will start today in divisions 2 and 3. You know what? Let's go in 2 and 3. I mean, we just saw Division 1. All of our teams are in either Northeast 1 or Northeast 2. I apologize for a little bit of a mind fart today. Totally thought we had to reveal the brackets, but that was last week. A lot happening over the last week, and my mind is just mush, right? So, welcome to Monday. All right, so here we go. These are the sectionals that are starting tonight. We have Ursuline versus Cheney. The winner of that one will go on to play at Poland on Wednesday. Ursuline is the 9 seed. Cheney the 24th. This is going to be another matchup between Steel Valley Conference teams. Ursuline has had their rule of the roost in the Steel Valley Conference this year, so they feel pretty comfortable going into tonight's matchup. The next matchup tonight is going to be Edgewood, and they will be hosting Ravenna. This is a good game, 17 versus 20. The Ravens come into Ashtabula County at 5:00, and Edgewood's offense is how they've won a lot of their games. They are a very good swinging team. They score a lot of runs, and they score them in a hurry. So if Ravenna wants any chance tonight, they're going to have to keep that Edgewood offense down, which is a tall task, of course. The winner goes on to Alliance. On Wednesday, Alliance sitting as the second seed in this Division 2. Very interesting that 1 and 2 not only are in the same bracket, but this is ultra rare where we see them both in the same side of the district as well. So they're not even on opposite ends of the line. 1 versus 2 could be the district semifinal, which is very rare. Usually it's 2 if they're going to go against they're going to go after the 1 seed. They at least come on down to this bottom line here. But they had their pick of the lines, and they picked this one up here. They wanted to see Poland the semifinals. They wanted to go right after the Bulldogs and take their chances with, if the numbers break, go as they're supposed to, take their chances with Canfield down here at the bottom. I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, maybe Alliance just had a little bit more, I don't want to say respect, but a little bit more fear to Canfield, because they elected to stay out of Canfield's side of the district and not have to play them until the district semifinals. Until the district finals, even though Poland is the 1 seed up here at the top line. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting bracket. We go to the bottom line of it, and we have Hubbard as the 7 seed. They have a bye. Hubbard's a very good team. They've played well this year. They have their moments, and especially when we get in tournament play, we've talked about it before. Baseball teams can be a little bit deceiving during the regular season when they have to go into their bullpen in the 3rd or 4th game of the week. This tournament will be you're going to get Hubbard's ace in the sectional finals, and then he'll have enough rest where they'll throw him again in the district semis. So you're going to get every baseball team's best pitching in the tournament, because that's how it sets up. You can go 1, 2, and then you have the long enough break where you go right back to your ace, and then you fit in some of those other people that you relied on to start in game 3 or 4 of the week. You put them in the bullpen where they can be much more effective to go and throw maybe 1 or 2 innings than saying, hey, we're going to work on you to throw 5 or 6. So you can really be a lot more flexible with your pitching staff in tournament time than you can in the regular season. And that's why baseball tournaments can be a little bit shifty when talking about seeds and who's the favorites, because to really decide it, you really have to dive into the pitching staffs and look at the numbers 1 and 2 pitchers and kind of take the rest of the pitching stats with a grain of salt when you think about it. So, sorry, I'm getting a call. I'm going to ignore it. But we will definitely keep an eye on Hubbard. I think they're a team 7 seed, but their pitching is good enough to make a run in this district. I strongly believe that. Canfield, too, is the 4. That's going to be a very interesting matchup if the numbers play out. Canfield versus Hubbard. Both of them would throw their 1s. They both would have plenty of rest between Wednesday and the 20th. That's 5 days of break. So both of them would have plenty of rest if Canfield and Hubbard do decide to throw their number 1s in their first game. Hubbard, I think, has to. I mean, you have 12 and 13. Jordan Streetsboro coming at you. That's going to be a very good sectional semifinal in their own right. Girard, once again, a team that top of their pitching, Jaden has looked very good. Jaden Royal swinging a good bat. You have a lot of good players on that team. I think some of their regular season losses came for the results that I was just telling you about, where they had to kind of dive into their bullpen and late in the week, and maybe players that aren't necessarily, put in the best position when they have to start the game and relied on to pitch 4 or 5 innings. So Girard, they could win. They could match up against Hubbard. It would be an NE8 rematch. Hubbard's going to be forced to throw their 1 in that game. This is not like a cupcake 30 seed that you can try to get cute and throw your 2 or 3. But we'll see. I don't think Streetsboro is going to be slept on either. I think that they're a very good baseball team in their own right. Canfield's waiting the winner of Niles and Howland. Howland's come on the last couple weeks of the season. So they're kind of dangerous too. If Howland wins, it'll be 2 league matchups in the sectional finals. On the bottom end of this bracket, you could have an NE8 matchup in one sectional final, and the other one you could have the AAC matchup between Canfield and Howland. And we look at how those games have gone this year. Let's look on Howland's schedule first and see how they fared against Hubbard, I'm sorry, not Howland. Got my H's mixed up. Look at Hubbard's schedule. Hubbard played Girard twice. It was a doubleheader. They split. Girard beat them 2-1, and then they beat Girard in game 2 5-1. So that could be a very interesting matchup. It really could. Now, though both sides would argue, well, it was a Saturday doubleheader, not necessarily conducive of putting our best foot forward both games. So maybe you can infer a little bit more from game 1 than game 2. But both the games were very close. And I would consider that to be a very good sectional final on that side. Now, if we go to Canfield and see how they did against Howland this year in league play. Canfield played Howland on the 15th and 16th of April. They won 7-4 and 2-0. So those are very close games. They won both of them, but especially game 2 there, that's you get held to 2 runs, you're in danger. Canfield's pitching staff was up for the task that night, 2-0. They shut out the Tigers. But as I said, the Tigers' offense has kind of come alive the last couple weeks of the season. They might not be as easy to shut out. And the old adage in sports is it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Now, the advantage that Canfield will have is Howland's going to have to throw their 1, right, in their first game. They cannot assume the win over Niles. Niles is good enough to beat you if you don't show up. So they have to throw their 1, and then Canfield's going to get an ace versus Howland's number 2. That's the advantage baseball teams have in the bye. You're always going to be waiting with your ace for a team that already has to play a game. It's a lot different than strategy of softball. Softball, I kind of like the coaches that say, especially if their last regular season game had, a huge gap or a sizable gap between tournament time and the regular season. I kind of don't mind not taking a bye. You get momentum. You're not worried about arm fatigue from your pitcher or anything. 1 day rest is perfect for softball players. But baseball, it's real different. You have a huge advantage with the bye because all of a sudden you're sitting there with all your pitchers available against the team that had to play 2 games before. And if the pitch count gets to a point, then there will be pitchers that the team you're playing does not have available. Now, the goal in these first tournament games for your Howlands, for your Girard, even though that's going to be really tough for the 12 seed, is going to be to get a big lead early so they can afford to save their pitcher's pitch count. And then maybe with 1 day's rest, they will have some pitchers available for this Canfield game. If it goes 7 innings and they have to use a lot of their pitches to get out of it, then that's where you run into the issue where you have your number 2 against the other team's number 1. It'll be very interesting to see how coaches navigate that. This tournament time in baseball, strategically with the pitchers, is a lot of strain on these coaches because even, some coaches don't throw their ace in the semifinal and then they keep them for the championship. They kind of say, we have a deep enough pitching staff. We can use our bullpen pitched by committee and get through the semifinal and then have a good chance, a really good chance at winning with our ace in the final. Other teams go the other way and say, we're not taking any win for granted. We're going to throw our ace the first moment we can, get the win, and then we'll figure out how to win the next game. I like the latter. I like the latter. I don't like taking wins for granted. I don't think you can. I think you have to throw your best in every opportunity you get to throw your best. If you don't throw your ace and then you lose, you're going to have to answer a lot of questions on why you didn't do that. We go to Northeast 2. This district will be held in Louisville. Field has the bye. They await the winner of Salem and Kent Roosevelt. Salem, a team I think it's in the same boat as some others where they're pitching, when you look at the top of it, very, very good. So they're a sneaky team in this tournament because of that. Marlington's a very good team out of the EBC. They have the bye. They await the winner of Geneva and East. You have West Branch as the 3 seed. They await the winner of Jefferson and West Geauga. That's 18 versus 19. That should be a very good game between the Falcons and the Wolverines. And then you have Madison against the winner of, Notre Dame Cathedral Latin and Struthers. Some teams I think that are sleepers in this one. I already talked about Salem. I think their pitching, especially 1 and 2, a lot better than a 15 seed. Their record doesn't show it because, like all baseball teams, they have to navigate a whole pitching staff. And let's just face it, not everyone on the roster is built to start and throw 5 innings. So you have a lot of guys on these teams that are much more comfortable and much more in the position to succeed when they're 1 inning guys because they can just go out, throw the high velo. Starting is different than bullpen. And you have to, in baseball, you got to make sure that when you're starting, you're kind of pacing yourself, which means, you can have a lot of guys that rely on fastballs in your bullpen because their velo can go, from the start of the inning, go full velo and not have to worry about pacing yourself through 5 or 6 innings. You hear that talked about in MLB all the time. It's the same thing in high school baseball as well. So Madison, I think NDCL is a sleeper because they always play a very good schedule. They're the 19 seed, but I never count out the Lions. They have a brutal schedule every year. Hopefully Jefferson can win and set up a all YSN matchup in the sectional finals. West Branch's pitching staff this year is ridiculous. We're probably going to see Bo Alazaz in that first game. He's been lights out for the Warriors this year. There could be a matchup between Marlington and West Branch in the district championship. I think Marlington is better than Field. I would pick them to win over Field if numbers played out in this top line of the district. I actually think Marlington would get past, especially since both teams would have a break. Marlington could throw their ace in that game. I would love it if Salem was able to beat Field, though, and then we'd have 3 EBC teams in the district semifinals. That would be just the chef's kiss, right? So that does it for Division 2. Let's look at Division 3 while we're here, which also starts today. Champion has a sectional semifinal, I should say, as the 15. They will host Campbell, the 21. Campbell's a sneaky team. Well, Champion's very aware of that. They've played them twice this year. We look at how the Flashes have fared against Campbell this year. We'll go to their schedule real quick. They beat them up both times. 16-1, 10-0 were the 2 wins against Campbell. But Campbell has looked pretty good the last couple of games they've been out. They've gotten wins, racked up a couple of wins here towards the end of the season. So hard to beat a team 3 times. Champion trying to do that. If they win, they advance to play Perry, who is the 1 seed in this Division 3 tournament. So definitely a tough road for the Flashes if they want to get to district. We go down here to the bottom line of this half of the district. Berkshire has the bye. They await the winner of Newton Falls and Conneaut. I really like Newton Falls. I think they have a really good squad. I think they have a good chance to beat Berkshire if they get there. I think Newton Falls has a harder schedule with playing the pitching they have to play in that MVAC great tier. Garfield has good pitching. Champion has good pitching. Crestview has good pitching. So you have to play all 3 of those teams just in league play, and then their non-conference schedule was pretty tough too. So I like Newton Falls in this side of the district. I think they have a good chance to get to a district semifinal, actually, even though they are not the highest seed there. LeBray is down here. They're a ringer. They're in the 1 seed district, but I'll tell you what, they're going to be able to have Dylan Simpson and Aaron Rowe both in back-to-back roles, and that's going to be a big 1-2 punch for any team they have to deal with. They await the winner of Lakeview and East Palestine. Really interested in a potential Lakeview versus LeBray sectional final. Then the bottom of the line is another really good pitching team, especially when you go 1-2 with Columbiana, and they will await the winner of Crestview and Waterloo, MVAC Scarlet tier opponents. Cross MVAC opponents, I should say. Waterloo in the Scarlet, Crestview in the Gray. Columbiana and Crestview played each other in the big game at Eastwood Field this year. So it would be a renewing of a very big rivalry in the tournament. That would be really cool to see the year that they decide to come back together and play in the regular season. They'll also match up in the tournament quite possibly. Definitely you'll see Alex Eusebio in that first matchup get the start. I would be shocked if he didn't. And then they'd have the rest if they won in districts to do whatever they wanted. They could go Doherty in the semis, and I think be, very confident. I think that's a very good 1-2 punch, 1A, 2A between Eusebio and Doherty. So Columbiana's got a pretty good outlook in this district, but they do have to get past Crestview. The problem for the Rebels is they're probably going to throw Fiesel in game 1. Fiesel Eusebio would be a really good matchup. They're going to have to go into their bullpen unless they get a run rule win over Waterloo. And Waterloo's defense is not giving up a ton of runs this year, so run ruling the Vikings is not going to be easy. They haven't hit great this year, but they have held teams down a lot more than they haven't. So Waterloo has a pretty efficient defense. We'll go into the next bracket. I think that was actually both of them, wasn't it? No, that was the first one. Next one in Division 3. South Range is the top seed in the district. Not the top seed, but the top line. They await the winner of Cardinal and Pymatuning Valley. It's 14 versus 17. Bottom half of this side of the district, we have United. They will play the winner of Southeast and Mooney. That is 9 versus 10. Mooney has the SOS edge in this one for sure. So even though they're the low seed, they're on the road. Could be a pretty favorable matchup for the Cardinals. Kirtland is the 2 seed. They have the bye. They await the winner of Chagrin Falls and Brookfield. And then very bottom of the line, Garfield, the 5 seed. They await the winner of Wycliffe and Liberty. So Garfield has a chance to, I think, make some waves. I think they're a team that has a really good top of the order in pitching and their rotation. Same thing with South Range. I love this district. You're looking at 3 teams that have a very legitimate chance of winning, that have a bye. And then I think Cardinal Mooney can't be counted out in the semifinals. Doesn't have a bye. Will have a little bit of a disadvantage there. But you see them down here. They'll play Southeast. If they win, they have United. That's a 9 seed and 8 seed for Cardinal Mooney. So they'll have, they have a chance to get into the district semifinals with an ace versus an ace against South Range, my 1 versus your 1. And then, you get down here and you have Kirtland, who's had a really awesome season, obviously, is a 2. I said again, they're going to put that on the count. That is 18 in the last 6 shows now, so counting that word. Chagrin Falls and Brookfield. Probably Chagrin Falls. I think Kirtland has a pretty easy road to the district semifinals. The highest seed they could face is the 18 seed. But down here, you bottom line, Garfield down there as well. Wycliffe and Liberty. Wycliffe, a team that is a little bit on that fringe of they've looked good at times, they've looked bad at times, or inconsistent. But inconsistent teams can be kind of scary because if the right one shows up, they can be good enough to beat you. But Garfield has a very strong team, and they'll have Wycliffe on short rest, which once again is a little bit of a disadvantage in baseball. But I wouldn't be shocked if Garfield won this district. I wouldn't be shocked if Kirtland won. Wouldn't be shocked if South Range won. Definitely wouldn't be shocked if Mooney won. There are 4 teams, I would say, in this district that have a legitimate chance of saying they're district champions. Like, I think people would not be crazy to pick them to win district. 4 teams in the one bracket, which is kind of rare. Usually you don't see that many teams with a legitimate argument in one bracket. And then I think, honestly, teams like Cardinal are in that boat outside of the Ysn family, but they're that fringe team like, hey, would it be an upset if they won districts? Yes. Do they have some of the pieces that would equal a district championship? Yeah, they do. So even with teams like that, this district is a very hard one to get through. And whoever wins, it's going to have a huge advantage in the regionals because they're going to be well tested. So that's divisions 2 and 3. What we're going to do, we're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back. We'll play the player profile with Cindy Watts. And then we will come back tomorrow, talk about divisions 1 and 4 when their sectionals start. So that sounds like a solid game plan. We'll take a break, like I said, be back. And when we get back, we'll have the player profile with Fitch Ace in the circle, Cindy Watts. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
the solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by our good friends, top right-hand corner of the screen right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we're going to do that today with another player profile, and this one is also brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. As if you go on to the website and find this piece of content, you'll see their logo on the bottom. Greenwood is a proud sponsor of every Austintown Fitch player profile that we do here at YSN. So Cindy Watts from Austintown Fitch, the Falcons geared up for a district semifinal tonight at YSU against Green, geared up for it with a great interview. Me and Ty Bartell have it, and here you go.
Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell, Anthony Hartwig in with another edition of Player Profile. It's just one of the top pitchers in the entire area. 50 wins, 700 strikeouts plus in her career. Sydney Watts from Austintown Fitch. Sid, how are we doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Not doing too bad. You're not having a bad season either, with a great start of the year. Talk to me about coming into this year, Sid, because, I mean, you've always kind of held a leadership role with this team, but now upperclassmen season, you really are taking in that leadership role. What has that been like for you, and what's your style been like kind of as a leader for the team?
You know, I feel like ever since my freshman year, I knew I wanted to be a leader on the team. And I feel like being that this team is, I know I'm a leader on the team, but I feel like the team also is like so close. It's like we all respect each other.
So this team obviously coming off of a state championship last year, and that was obviously the ultimate goal for Austintown Fitch. So I'm wondering what it's been like this year, trying to repeat, being that reigning state champion and carrying the weight of kind of what that success brings and what that's been like for you and what it's been like for the team as well.
It's been the same like as past years. We've had to work hard for everything we've accomplished, and we didn't let the state title define us. We know that no matter what, we still have to continue to work hard.
You are a high volume, high level pitcher, and you've faced some of the best, both with travel ball and with high school. It never seems like you get rattled, too. Talk to me about just how you keep that ice in your veins, too. When pressure cooking situations arise, what are you doing? What are you telling yourself to keep yourself so calm, cool, and collected?
It's not always been like that. When I was younger, I'd really get in my own head. And I feel like it was just something as I became older, I knew I had to grow into just watching college pitchers and how they are so composed. I knew I had to become that one day if I wanted to play at the collegiate level.
We've talked to a couple of your teammates already, and we've brought up the loss that you guys had this week and what that's done for you mentally. And from your perspective, taking that loss and it being the first loss since 2022, what has it done for this team to kind of feel that and to experience a loss for some of your players the first time, the sophomores on your team? What do you think it's done for the psyche and the mentality of the team going forward?
One loss doesn't define us, but Canfield is a very good team. Honestly, one of the best we will face all season. But, sometimes a loss, although it sucks, it's going to make us work harder in the end.
for you guys too, it's got to be so hard to balance when you're hearing all the outside noise. Everyone's ranking you guys in the top 10. How has that been like for you personally, trying to balance out, knowing that you guys are a very good, very talented team, but not letting, I guess, the head get too big because of all the outside love you're getting?
The rankings are great and all, but sometimes it does bring a little stress, like knowing so much of that is like you're just expected a lot more when you are ranked in the top.
Those rankings also bring notoriety to the program, and everyone knows who Fitch is, and everyone's asking about Fitch. Even the games that I'm at, when it's not Austintown Fitch playing, people are wondering what the score of the Fitch game is. What do you think it's done for softball in the area, and to be able to bring attention to softball in Northeast Ohio?
I feel like it's done a lot. Ever since like the beginning of the school, like this season, I feel like there's just been like so many more people at our games, and like just it's like so nice seeing the whole community there to support us.
You're one of those flag bearers too, I think, that are bringing a lot of attention to softball in the area. But I'm kind of curious, where did softball start for you too? When did the first chapter start? When did you first find yourself picking up the ball and the glove?
I started playing travel ball when I was like 8, and that's like kind of when it started getting serious. I started going to my pitching coach Ed Beavers when I was like really young, and he's been there with me all the way up, and just like working with him and my dad constantly, that's really where it began.
You ended your recruiting process, so I'm wondering what this season is like now, knowing where you're going. You don't have to worry about impressing coaches anymore or any of that nonsense. You know where you're going. How has it let you focus on Austintown Fitch even more, and to just embrace the high school season and have fun with it just a little bit more than it did maybe the last 2 years when you were trying to get on radars and work through this whole recruiting process?
Yeah, it's taken a lot of stress off my shoulders, like knowing I don't have to send like emails after games and like so worried about posting on Twitter anymore. But it's really nice knowing that I'm already playing for Georgia Tech. Like I'm playing for their name already.
You have a lot of I guess when you talk about your skill in softball too, your skill brings you value to be able to go to colleges like that, because you have to invest so much time in your softball skill. I gotta imagine fitting in, being academically sound, and getting everything else is tough. Take me behind the scenes with that a little bit too, because I don't think many people quite understand when you have to put as much time into softball like you do, it doesn't leave a whole lot of time for everything else.
No, honestly, I feel like from a young age, like I've known how to balance it. Like I'm able to get like a lot of my schoolwork done in school, which really helps me like after school, knowing like, okay, I got this done. Maybe all I have to do is study after school, and then I have practice, maybe a little bit time for friends. But like honestly, it's knowing like while I'm in school, I need to like lock in for those 8 hours and get my work done, so I don't have much after school.
Yeah, and Ty brings up the academics. We talked about the leadership elevation that upperclassmen brings. What about the classroom and the workload that junior year brings, and how much harder it kind of gets once you're an upperclassman? How have you been handling the classroom so far this year?
I've been doing really good. I actually took the ACT again before our game yesterday. So like just knowing like I have to like just be so locked in and getting like my schoolwork done again, and like just not letting like stuff like that carry into like once it's school time, and then once it's like softball time, just knowing like the difference between both of them.
Talk to me a little bit about your journey as a pitcher too. What were some of the biggest challenges you had to face? How'd you overcome them?
Honestly, probably one is definitely breaking my foot 2 years ago. But honestly, it's just like the outside noise. I feel like sometimes it's like a lot, like the rankings. Oh, losing a game, honestly, like getting like hate from that. That's the hardest part.
When I think of adversity, I always want to know how you came through it. So you just talked about some of the toughest parts of your journey. What were some of the ways that you got through it? Some of the ways that you kind of pushed through mentally, especially out of those times of adversity?
After breaking my foot, it was really just like knowing I had to work harder after that. And I feel like seeing my improvement continue like after I got out of my boot, and like just having the support from my teammates and coaches really helped me along the way, and my family.
Person over player is a mentality Coach Ward and that entire Austintown coaching staff likes to preach. How have you seen yourself grow as a person in your high school career so far?
It's just like I feel like being a good teammate is one of the most important things to the game. You have to like be able to trust the people behind you and your coaches, your teammates. And I feel like if you don't have that, just everything goes wild. Not like just like in the dugout, like people like fighting, but like you could see the difference between good teammates on the field, like making errors, not trusting each other. And I feel like we've just like the whole team has been great at that since my freshman year. So that's really nothing we really had to worry about.
Okay, this next question is going to be scary for the teams that play you guys, but you're always improving. You always find ways to get better. In what ways do you think you've improved yourself this year? What parts of the game have you gotten better at, or at least worked to get better at so far from last year?
Definitely, I have cut down on my walks a lot. I've had 3 or 4 walks in the past 7 games, and I feel like my freshman year I was like averaging 3 walks a game, and I feel like that's like been really important to me, knowing I need to trust my defense more. And I feel like that was the problem with my walks before. It was, I need to do what I can to strike this batter out. Well, maybe sometimes I just have to throw a fastball and let the defense do the work.
Talk to me a little bit about your dad too. I know he's been a huge part of your ride. He's been a coach for a lot of teams. What are some of your dad's your favorite quotes from your dad over the years too? What are some of your favorite sayings from him?
If you ever come to the game, it's always you see him in the outfield going like this, shorten your stride. Because like when like he sits in the outfield, so it's like every time I turn around, he's just kind of there, and he just goes like this all the time. And I see it's just like because whenever like I get out of myself, it's because I'm overstriding in my pitches, and that's kind of like when balls start going wild and stuff. So it's just I do see him in the outfield going like this.
Just to piggyback on Ty's question, because now he's just not a supporter of this team. He's been brought on to help the program and to be a coach. What's that been like to see your dad kind of get even more involved with the program, especially the future of the program, and really help out with growing Austintown Fitch softball?
My dad, he knows a lot. He's been a coach since I've been so young, and just seeing like he's just been around the game for a really long time. Before what was it? I think Friday, the majority of the team went to Fast Pitch Performance, and we practiced for like 3 hours, and just seeing like how dedicated the team is to getting better too. Like it's just been really nice.
What's that been like for you personally to always kind of have another coach that you could kind of go to any hour of the day?
I love it. Like he just like he knows so much, like I said, and I feel like just being able to talk to him about stuff and like knowing he knows what like he could see me. Like I obviously when I'm pitching I can't see myself, and he sees the little things I'm doing to like help me get back like to where like know what I'm doing wrong.
We talked about your full-time coach with your dad. I want to real quickly though talk about Mama too, because Mom's the #1 fan. She's the biggest fan. She's there every game too. She's always cheering you on. What has her support been like too? Not only with your whole softball career, the college process and everything.
She's my travel buddy. She's every tournament over the summer has always been just me and my mom, and just our bond. Like she's my mom. Like we did everything together this past summer, and just I love spending time with her.
Good catch, Ty. If we left Mama Bear out, she'd come after us on social media. When you think about the goals that you still have for yourself that you want to accomplish this year for your person, we know all what the team goals are. We've talked to you about that. What are some of the goals that you still have on your goal board this year that you want to accomplish yourself?
One of the biggest things again is I want to like continue to cut down on my walks and know like I have my defense behind me to make the plays. Like I said, if I'm getting higher up in counts, knowing like, if this pitch is a strike and they hit it, then the defense is going to be there. I don't have to worry about like moving in. It might possibly be a ball, but also my hitting's been struggling a little bit, and I want to get back into like hitting like I used to.
When you kind of talk about going through slumps like that, what are you telling yourself as a high level? Because we talk about every level of softball goes through it too. So what are you kind of telling yourself when you're trying to break yourself out of a slump?
Just stay within myself. A lot of times when I'm not hitting, it's because I'm trying to overhit the ball, and just like knowing like I have power, all I have to do is like swing like I know how to, and I'll get a good hit.
You know, we asked a lot of pitchers that hit this. How much do you bring your pitcher's mentality into the box with you to try to help you just, discern what the other pitcher might do to attack you?
Honestly, I feel like the pitcher and the catcher have the two most advantages on the field because you see better than anybody else in the field like where the strike zone's going to be, and you know out of the hand like a lot of the times what the ball's doing. And yeah, you just like I said, it's more like the zone, you know where the zone's going to be.
That dugout playlist is always rocking too, and you guys always know how to have a party. What's your favorite song on this year's playlist?
I really like my walk-up song, but it's so hard. I feel like Ayla's walk-up or Kylie's walk-up song, it's a party. Like that just gets the team going.
We got to talk about your walk-up song, how you chose it, why you chose it, and what it says about you.
It's First Person Shooter by Drake, and it's the big as the what part, and I just feel like it's just like it's kind of like me, like it's either like a home run or just like I am good in big moments.
I know Ghost was the big energy drink last year. Is that still it, or what's the drink preference in the dugout this year?
For energy drink, it is the Ghost, but I feel like a lot of times it's like Starbucks. Everybody has a strawberry refresher.
What's your favorite pitch to throw? Like the one that has a special place in your heart right now?
Rise ball.
Yeah. No. Easy question. What was the one that was hardest to develop though? The one that you worked on the most and you're so proud that you have in your bag of tools now?
Probably my changeup. I worked a lot on that over the off season, and I know I haven't thrown it that much recently, but I feel like later on in the season, like during more into tournament play, we'll definitely be seeing that more because it's became a really big pitch for me.
It's okay. You're keeping that changeup close to the
vest. Put it in the back of everyone's mind going into tournament. There's going to be another level of difficulty. Superstitions. I feel like everyone's got at least some small ones. Some have more than others. Do you have any softball superstitions?
My eye black. I have to have that eye black on before every game, or else I don't know. I haven't played a game since freshman season without it.
We've been asking every softball player this so far this year, so you have to be asked it too. Softball icks. What are some of yours?
Ears out of visors, or it's definitely ears out of visor. Like you have to wear your visor covering your ears, or it just kind of looks weird.
I mean, keeping count, that's got 2 answers so far. So that's in the lead right now with all the softball players we've asked. So maybe at the end of the year we'll have a most icked thing on YSN.
So I know you're a softball super fan. Who was some of your favorite college softball players?
Najee Kennedy from Stanford. I watched her play last year against Georgia, and just like you see how good she is on the field, but like on TV. But watching her in person, like it's just like a whole nother thing. And we saw her like one of her first games of her career, just seeing like how pumped and into it is. I love watching her play.
Sid, one of the things that we like to do with these player profiles, of course, you've been a part of them, is give the player the chance to take the spotlight off themselves a little bit, shining on their support system. Want to do that for you now. I want to give you the time to thank the people that have been there for you throughout your journey.
I want to thank my parents and my sister for always having my back no matter what, and my mom for being my travel buddy, my dad for being my coach all the way up. I want to thank Coach Juan for, honestly, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be at Georgia Tech right now, and my Lady Dukes coach, and just Ed Beavers for also being there all along the way and helping me. Like whenever I get down on myself or like I know my mechanics are going wrong, I go to him and like they're immediately fixed. And just the Fitch coaching staff, they've always been there for me.
So we thank you so much for the time that you give us out of your very busy days just to get a little bit of a profile into yourself in this season too. Wish you the best of luck going forward the rest of the season, as I know you guys have some unfinished business.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. This has been another edition of Player Profile with the ace over at Austintown, Sydney Watts.
Sydney Watts from Austintown Fitch, the player profile that is featured today, and what a great interview it was. If you're watching that and missed a little bit of it, want to see it in its entirety, it is available not just on our website at ysnlive.com, but also on the YSN YouTube page. Make sure to go over there, check it out. We have a bunch of new profiles just put up last night and today. Some baseball ones, some softball ones, a couple of lacrosse interviews as well. So make sure to go over to our YouTube page, subscribe to the channel, please. We love subscriptions. They're the ones that get us into the algorithm. Like some videos, comment on some videos, hit that notification bell so you never miss a minute of the video action that we put up. We put up, I think, 4 this morning and 4 last night. So, 8 new videos in the last 24 hours. You don't want to miss any of them. Hit that notification bell so you're always notified when YSN posts a new video. We have player profiles up there, coaches' corners, post-game interviews, game highlights. There's some full games that are on there as well. So make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and notify yourself of when we post YouTube videos. That's going to about wrap it up for today's show. But before we go, we do want to shout out the games that are happening tonight in both baseball and softball. We are officially in the postseason. A couple of regular season games are happening. One that is pretty interesting, Poland and South Range playing each other round 3 in baseball for a tournament tune-up at Poland. They've already played each other twice in the regular season for league, but those matchups were so good, they want to finish the regular season out. They want to decide the series. So they've split the first 2. Series clinching game tonight. It means nothing towards the conference, but it's a little bit of bragging rights on the line between Poland and South Range. We also have Canfield at Louisville tonight. And that one will be on ysnlive.com. Louisville's crew will have you covered. Here are the sectional semifinals that will be going on tonight in baseball. We already went over them in the bracket breakdowns. We have Cheney at Ursuline. Edgewood will be hosting Ravenna. Streetsboro will be hosting Girard. Niles travels to Howland. Kent Roosevelt will go to Salem. Youngstown East will go to Geneva. We have West Geauga at Jefferson, Struthers at NDCL, Orange at Mentor Lake Catholic, Edison at Beaver Trail, Campbell Memorial at Champion, Newton Falls hosting Conneaut, East Palestine at Lakeview, Waterloo at Crestview, and then Pymatinny Valley at Cardinal. We have Mooney. They'll be traveling to Ravenna Southeast. DJ Oakley will have the call on that one. And we have Chagrin Falls will be hosting Brookfield, as well as Liberty going to Woodcliff. Some sectional finals that need finished in softball. West Branch and Edgewood are continuing their game. The I was almost about to say Warriors, but they're both Warriors. Edgewood has a 4-0 lead, bottom of the second. Warriors with 1 on, no outs in the continuation of that game. Howland and Ursuline have to continue their game. They're in the bottom of the second. No, top of the second. Howland leads 7-0 in that game. And then Jefferson and Field have to finish their sectional final as well. And then district semifinals in softball tonight. Divisions 1 and 4. Walsh against Hoban. We have Grand Valley against Mogador. That one will be in Dalton. Jackson Milton versus McDonald, round 3. That one's happening in Badger. Badger is actually going down to Jackson Milton. It's really funny that both those schools are in the other school's district. So Badger will be traveling to Jackson Milton to play Matthews in their district semifinal. We have Fitch and Green. That one will be on YSN thanks to the Fitch softball boosters who have sponsored that game. Tournament games will be broadcasted only if they get sponsored. So if you want your tournament run to be on YSN, talk to someone in your community, whether it be your boosters, a local business, someone that wants to sponsor your tournament game. Make sure that they know, and then they can reach out to us and we can get them squared away. So you can get your tournament game to be sponsored. We have Grand Valley and Sandy Valley and Edison at Carrollton. Dalton will be the host as well from Southern and Shocker. We have Mentor, the host for Louisville. They take on Riverside. We have Western Reserve against Canton Central Catholic at Badger. Last but not least, Middle Ridge will be at Jackson Milton as they play Maplewood in the district semifinals. Divisions 1 and 4. Tickets to the district championships will be punched tonight, and then divisions 2 and 3 have their district semifinals tomorrow. Baseball, the opposite. Divisions 2 and 3 tonight, divisions 1 and 4 tomorrow. So that's how you can remember if you want to know what divisions are playing. It's just opposite of the other. So softball 1 and 4 tonight, 2 and 3 tomorrow. Baseball 2 and 3 tonight, 1 and 4 tomorrow for divisions. That's actually pretty nice too, because that means the fans don't have to decide. And I don't know if that was a factor in that decision-making process, but now if you're a fan of a Division II softball team, you won't be lined up with your Division II baseball team, and same thing with Division 1 and 4 and 3, of course. So that'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Want to thank Sydney Watts for her time giving us that interview. Ty Bartell as well. He does a great job when he gets on the mic doing these player profiles. And we will be back tomorrow for more bracket breakdowns. We'll go over divisions 1 and 4 in baseball. And we'll also have more player profiles and a lot of fun tomorrow on the show, as well as recaps of all the action that happens tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the weather. Go out there, watch some baseball, watch some softball, watch some tickets get punched to the next round. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running